I'm not worried, but if you're asking me, will there be another meltdown to zero? Absolutely, 100% it'll happen. And it'll keep happening. Well, all of these exchanges, all of them, all the unregulated exchanges are having massive outflows right now. The smart money has got the joke. They saw what happened in FTX. They're not sitting around for an explanation. And if you're not willing to be audited, and I'm speaking about any exchange, if you don't have an auditor, you don't want to be transparent, you don't want to disclose ownership, why should institutional capital stay there? Of course it's not going to. And frankly, it's very hard to find an auditor that wants to touch this stuff right now because of an unregulated cowboy environment. It's all going to end. And yes, there'll be many more zeros. The only place I have any crypto right now is up in the Canadian market, which is 100% regulated. They have a broker dealer attached to an exchange regulated by the OSC, all kinds of rules. You can't commingle. It's called BitBuy. And I've got my money there. It's owned by WonderFi, a public company. I have lots of capital tied up in there. It's the only place. I'm not putting it in an unregulated exchange anywhere. Forget it. Never again. And they get audited up there. And so, frankly, if you're sitting around trying to get me to buy a token from an exchange to get discounts on trading, that stuff's garbage.
Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank fame wants to get out and warns that a complete and utter collapse of the cryptocurrency market is inevitable and will happen again and again and again. O'Leary claims in his most recent interview that since the FTX crash, all the smart money has been leaving exchanges and that other exchanges will soon follow suit. Despite not specifically naming them, O'Leary makes it clear that he does not put his faith in Binance and other major players in the industry. Don't leave before O'Leary explains why, despite everything, he sees only growth in crypto for 2023. Before major players or institutional money can invest, however, a fresh story is required.
I have been going back into the crypto markets lately. Anytime Bitcoin drops below 17,000, I add to our positions there. Crypto is getting very interesting because we're finally starting to see the bear of regulation coming into play. And I think long-term, that's a good thing. These hearings in the Senate have really poked the bear, as I like to say. And I participated in the last hearings. And when I had a chance to talk to the people on the Hill, or the lawmakers, I sense that they're frustrated now. They're tired of putting these hearings on every 6 months, every time one of these crypto company blows up and goes to zero. They're so unregulated. These unregulated exchanges they're all going to go to zero. And what's going to come out of it eventually is going to be a regulated crypto market, which I think will be very interesting because there's real merit. I mean, crypto itself is not the bad guy. Crypto is just software code. It's not the software code. It's all of these rogue players and these unregulated exchanges and the issuance of all these meritless tokens, the token on the exchange, all of this crap, if I excuse my French, It's all going to go away. It's all going to go away. All the large exchanges, the unregulated global exchanges, incentivize account holders and users to buy their tokens to get discounts on trading fees. It's not new. It's been going on for years. And then they put them on their balance sheet at a ridiculous valuation. And if you look at actually who owns these things, 97% of them are owned by the issuer. You don't know who that person is because it's simply a wallet without a name on it. And the other 3% are valuing it at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 billion dollars. Now, if there's a cash run, a cash call back to fiat, back to US dollars on $100 billion, you know that exchange is going to fail. And that's exactly what happened to FTX when a rogue player said, I've got $550 million worth of FTT tokens, and I want cash by noon in 3 hours. Well, of course they don't have 500 million cash. None of them do. And so at the end of the day, this is all something that can just regulate out of existence. Can't do that if you're a bank. You can't force people to buy your shares just to open an account. That's ridiculous. Or incentivize them with discounts. That's illegal. All I'm saying is set some rules up, and I think this is going to happen. And I'll tell you how I think this plays out. A passport system is going to be launched by regulators in major markets: US, Canada, Switzerland, United Arab Emirates, South American markets. And they're simply going to say, look, if you want access to the fiat cash in the regulated bank accounts in this geography, in this country, in this market, you have to be compliant to this passport. And they'll all have the same rules. And if you want to operate, because remember, the one thing about Bitcoin is it doesn't trade in any one geography. It trades around the world 24/7. So if you want to trade it on an exchange in Abu Dhabi or up in Canada or in Mexico or down in South America or here in the US, you're going to have to be passported, regulated. And that way, if you go offside in any market, they'll pull all your licenses, and then you no longer have access to getting cash in and out of banks. That's how I think they're going to do it. I'm speculating when I say it, but I think you're going to hear more hearings in the Senate and more of this reining in the cowboy rogue nature of what this has become. It's got to end. People are tired of losing all their money. And frankly, I think regulation doesn't have to be, it's not going to change fraud. It's just going to make it much easier for people to understand what the rules are and get rid of the rogue players. The SEC, they really understand what's going on. They just haven't had agreement on who the regulators should be. There's a turf war going on and who should actually regulate, but there will be some regulation. There's no question about it. And I think, the Toomey hearings prior to when he retired on Jan 3rd, and now it looks like Haggerty may pick up the baton. They see the merit of digital payment systems and cryptocurrencies, but they want it done in a regulated environment. And I think that will continue, and they'll continue to educate themselves, and the hearings will continue. But I think it's all upside from here. And eventually institutions want to buy this stuff, and they're not buying it yet. For all of the noise about institutions coming in, they own nothing yet, zero. As long as you have a completely unregulated, decentralized version of money, you're going to have people ripping you off. And that's what people have got a taste of. There's so many rogue players that want to take advantage of people on these decentralized platforms. Doesn't mean decentralized doesn't work. It means we need to have much higher security at the wallet level, more transparency. In the FTX case, you can go to your account, you see nothing there. It got completely scraped. So nobody trusts these systems yet. They want regulation. They want transparency. They trust the banking system, not the crypto markets yet. And so this idea that that you're for decentralized and you're a rogue cowboy and you don't believe in government works until you find out you lost $50,000 in your account. I just think that this nascent crypto industry has ripped off so many people. I saw a stat the other day, in the last 36 months, 80% of the people that participated in crypto as investors have lost 82% of their capital. I rest my case, Your Honor. I think that's a horrible way to start. And I think we need a complete change in how people think about it if we're ever going to get the narrative back to a constructive one. Actually, nobody knows. The narrative towards a soft landing is now at 50% of the narrative you hear in analysts discussing the future. And they're trying to, determine the next 24 months. I've never seen so much narrative towards a soft landing, which people claimed only 4 months ago was impossible. You never get it. Well, it seems we might be getting that. You just don't know. I think to stay the course is to assume that returns on markets will be muted more in that 6 to 8 period, the 6 to 8% that I mentioned, and that you want to be very careful. And this is a narrative that a lot of people talked about. Quality matters now. Speculative, unprofitable companies have been absolutely crushed. Those stocks are down 70, 80, 90%. I don't anticipate them coming back. People are focusing on what's real and what is actually going to make money. And every once in a while, you get a crazy story, ChatGPT, that discussion about a valuation of $29 billion. Who knows if Microsoft does that deal, under what terms? It smells like a royalty deal to me that they're doing. I think they ripped me off from Shark Tank on that thing. They're taking out all the profits and getting half the business. I like that structure. I should charge them a royalty. But at the end of the day, the markets are going to be far more muted, and you'll have to focus on balance sheet and quality, just like it was in the old days. And so we're back. It's a full circle. All the speculative froth is gone, and profit matters again.
All right, that's it for today's video. I hope today's video was entertaining and informative. Leave a comment with your ideas below, and we appreciate you tuning in to Market Empire. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.